Welcome back to Books and Budgets. I am just about to get caught up to where I should be if I can just, I'm here today to wrap up my first paycheck budget for April. We are just now into the second one today. And, oh, by the way, welcome if you're here. If you're new, I'm Ruth, and I'm doing the best I can to budget and be intentional with my money, even though the cost of living is making it really difficult because things are going up. The price of things are going up a lot faster than my paycheck is. So if you can relate to that, I'm glad you're here. Consider hitting that like button, subscribing, or leaving me a comment or a question below. And I'm going to go over what I do for wrapping up a budget. This is my paycheck that I got the last day of March. So this is good until April 15th. And this was my plan, as I call it, my budget, my plan. And this is how I'm going to wrap it up and make sure everything came out as planned. Okay, so I've done one of these before, and I realized that on camera, I spend a lot of time going back and forth between pages, which I normally do, and it doesn't bother me, but on camera, it seemed a little more off-putting to me. So I'll show you these pages, and then I'm going to kind of spread them out in such a way that where we should be able to see everything we need all at once. This is my budget tracker where I make my plan and then follow whether I am completing it. This is my expense tracker where I use it just like a check register, and I keep track of all of the purchases coming out of my checking account, which I call my household account. And this is the back of another piece of paper that shows where I keep track of categories that I need to add up before I put on here, that I don't write down every single transaction. I don't write it on here, is what I mean. Okay, let's see if we can try this. All right, I want to try and put that up there so I can see it. And then I usually look at my expense tracker and I will mark it on my budget tracker. So the first thing is my paycheck, which came in for more than $1,600. This time it was for $1,721. Oh, I did start with $50, so let's put that first. That is my checking buffer. I may take it up to $100 at some point. I don't know. And the truth is, I do have a silent buffer that I hide from myself that is another $200. So I feel well insulated from anything hitting my account that might cause a problem. I always budget for $1,600. It's usually $1,650, but at the beginning of the month, I can get extra income if I did after-school tutoring the month before. And I did, actually it's a month and a half before. I think at the beginning of April, I get paid for what I turned in at the beginning of March, which is what I did during February. So this is being added for, and what did I do? I wrote it down wrong in the first place. It's not 1771, it's 1721. 42. That was my paycheck. Okay. So let me see if I can get this total without having to do the actual math. That's where I got the 1771. Added together, they're 1771.42. Okay. So then we have $31.25 is my union dues. And I like to mark when I transfer these over to here, which, by the way, would mean I need to mark this one and this one as well. So I have those and those. All right, $31.25 is my union dues. $95.43 was groceries. So I have them marked right up here. $25 was the transfer to savings. or not savings, I'm sorry, to my personal checking account where I do shopping. So I call it a shopping expense. $10.94. Pretty sure. Yep. That was an order from Amazon. And, oh, by the way, here's my union dues again. And this order from Amazon, I had to order a book. We teach, I really try to push for keeping full novels in my classroom. So we teach certain novels, and we were teaching one, and I have a lot of newcomers in my room this year. By newcomers, I mean English language learners who haven't been here for very long, usually less than a year to 2 years. And they have very limited English. We teach in an English classroom, and we teach in English. However, if they're going to get anything at all, I've got to meet them a little bit in some ways where they are. If we're reading a full novel, I like to provide it for my students in translation if I can. And this one is a novel in verse, so a lot of the figurative language in English is very difficult to translate using something like Google Translate or even some other online ones. I wanted a professional translation for this one. So I bought it. And that way I can help the students understand better. Anyway, that was definitely a sidetrack, okay? 1368 was eating out. So I'm gonna mark that right there. I have some of these pre-written so that we don't have to go through all of that. Then my mortgage finally went through for $820.45. Oh, I've got that $25. I better remember to write this stuff down. What is this 25? This was, that was fuel. And that was the only fuel I got. So I'm going to put 25 down here. I think you can still see that, just barely. $85.70 was groceries again. Been about a week. $27.13 is eating out again. Probably been a half a week, about a week. $50 was the gym membership. I belong to a gym. I don't always go. Please tell me that you're not someone who is absolutely disciplined about that, because I'm afraid you will find me disappointing. I have never been that disciplined about it, but I am trying to do better because I feel better. And I love the fact that they have an indoor pool that I can use any season of the year. And it's usually a lot less crowded than the public pool. So, and I don't run into as many students. Those of you who are teachers will understand what I mean, that sometimes you need the exercise, you really need to go, but you are not looking your best. Or like you want to run into a middle school student who will tell you to your face exactly what they think. Some of you who teach in middle school will know what I mean. All right, 1202 was part of an eating out order that came up as a special treat, and the other half was included in here. I'll show you that in just a minute. My son works at a library, and he came home one day, or he called me on his way home one day and said, "What are you going to do for me? Today is National Library Workers Day." And I said, "Well, we'll have to do something." He said, "I was thinking about something that maybe we could eat out." And I said, "Oh, okay, well, you have a plan." So we kind of went from there. This is my AC service contract, air conditioning and heating. I keep the monthly contract. They come in twice a year, it's really about an hour and a half service, change the filters, check everything over, and that helps me to keep everything running, as well as I get a discount if they do need to do any work. My Apple storage, 99 cents. Everybody has that. So now I can add this up. But let me go ahead and finish this. 38.28 was also eating out. We ate out a lot this 2 weeks. That's really unusual. Okay, So now we get to the part where I really do need to do some math. Let's add these up first. Our variable expenses, groceries, 95.43 plus 85.70 plus 24.92. That's for groceries, and you didn't see me process that one. I'll show it to you in just a minute. That's 206.05. Now, I have mentioned that I often go over on groceries. Either I need to realize that the reality is just higher and start budgeting more, or I can keep it here and just see if that helps to limit me when I am ordering. But I do face the reality that I go over quite often, and 206 out of a budget of 200 is really a good month or a good paycheck budget for me. Okay, so the next one, eating out, my budget is usually 75. Let's go 1368 plus 2713 plus 3828 equals, again, not too bad, 7909. So I'm going to put those right in here. 7909 there. What was it? 20605. 20605 here. Okay, this grocery right here and how you never saw it. I transferred money to my son. A lot of times if we need certain things, he will stop on the way home and pick up 2 gallons of milk or something that I need for dinner that night. And he had done that, I think, a total of 3 times this pay period, and I hadn't gotten him reimbursed. And then the night of the library workers dinner, he ordered through an app the other half of our dinner. And so I was paying him back for both of those. And I split them out like this on my expense tracker. So I know exactly, even though I'm just taking $35 and subtracting that from my total, I know exactly which categories these came from. So the groceries, the $24.92 actually came from there. Okay, so that accounts for all of those. Now this one, let's just do it like this. 2 cents and 95 cents is 97 cents. $12 and $10 is $22. Okay, I could probably do the same here. Give me a moment to do the math. 42.19. I'm pretty sure that is what I got. All right. This is actually not something I need for this tracker. It will come in when I do my wrap-up of the whole thing. More for my monthly wrap-up. Okay, so now let's look at, I don't know if you can see this calculator really well. A lot of times I use the one on my phone, which I can't use at the moment because it's filming. And then I have a big clunky one. I see such nice calculators on YouTube, on other people's videos, but I'm just not willing at this point to spend money just for it to look better. This one works just fine. So let's see. 45, 45, 45. Let's add these up. And see if I got them right. I know what I did. I marked that this 1094 was for a book, but I did not budget for a book anywhere on here. I was about to say I wasn't getting the same total as I got on my pencil draft. And by the way, if you were here with me the last video that I shot, and I could not for the life of me remember the word draft as pertains to when you have one copy that you do in pencil before you do the final copy in ink. I could not think of the word draft. So my pencil draft did not have 1,075.88 like I got on my because I remembered on there to add the book, the Amazon order for school. I actually placed that on the 4th. Excuse me here just a moment. I did not budget for it, but it was $10.94. Now, let's add that to the 1,075, and you got 10.94, and that is where I should be. 1,086.82. I'm going to subtract that from, the way I do it, I make it negative and then add, from my 1,771.42, and I get 684.60. All right, I'll bring that down, 684.60. This is my groceries, eating out totals, right there, like we got right here and right here. My fuel, because I only got the one time, I did take $20 in cash, which I accounted for in here. Oh, it gets convoluted. In my savings, my son gave me some money that I was, for a loan that he is paying me back for, and it's going into my savings, but he gave me $25 in cash. So $5 I put into the savings. The $20 I put into, so I didn't have to go through the drive-through and get it $20. So, but it is accounted for in here somewhere, the $20. Okay, I'll make me a note. It's accounted for there. Miscellaneous. Now, miscellaneous we had up here. I usually don't have miscellaneous expenses, and this is an eating out expense, but it was one that just came up on a whim. So, and I thought, you know, I usually don't even spend my miscellaneous category, but it's there. I budgeted for it. Why not? We didn't go extravagant. We had fried chicken and red beans and rice, which was excellent. All right, so let's add up my variable expenses. Equals 353.11. Hopefully that's up where you can see it. 353.11. Subtracted from our 684.60, and you get 331.49. That's correct. Okay, so I'm going to bring that back up here. I'm going to kind of clear this all up now that we've used all of the stuff that we need for that. We want to put 331.49 right here. And this is $125 more than I anticipated. Also, I said that I was going to change this out and do this with the Discover. Okay, let me explain that. When I did my budget plan for the month of April, and I set all these numbers in the budget column, I mentioned that I had done this on my draft, which is where I couldn't come up with the word, and then had remembered that I was wanting to account for my former Discover payment. In the first half of the month, I used to pay $75 towards my Discover bill. I paid it off at the end of February. It's been a long time since I've had that. And I don't have any other consumer debt. I have my mortgage, which I'm working on, and several things that I need to plan for, which I explained in my debt confession, my undebt confession. And I will try to post something. You'll have to remind me. I think it's up in the corner right here. I can post a link to that video. Anyway, I don't have any additional debt right now, but I don't want to squander that $75. I don't want it to just be wasted going. I certainly don't want to spend it on eating out by relaxing my vigilance. So I thought I would record it down here. First of all, let me put the things that have to be here. I don't have tags and taxes. I don't have the subscriptions in the first half of the month, so I don't have to put that. But the $50 checking buffer absolutely has to be there. Everything else is negotiable, which leaves $281. Okay. I am saving, I am facing my son's birthday coming up in the second half of April, this month. So I was thinking, in my draft, I put 25 extra in the emergency fund and I put 100 extra in gifts. But with this, what I was doing last time was 50 in the emergency fund and 25 in the home sinking fund, because those are my priorities. And this is really a good reminder that they should be my priorities. So let's try doing that. 125 in the emergency fund, which would be, now, if I'm going to put it down here, I'm going to put it down here. So otherwise I won't be able to see it. And I'll forget how I did this. So what I'm saying is, let's do 75 in the emergency fund and 50 in the emergency fund, which will equal 125 when it's all said and done. I budgeted 15 for the home seeking fund. I've got 25 that I would like to add to that. So let's do 15 here. Let's do 25 here for $40 going into the home sinking fund. Okay, that takes care of my snowball, but that has now departed from my draft. So it'll take me a minute to kind of figure this out. I had 15 for my car maintenance. I had 15 for vacation. When I have more than I anticipate, I like bringing these up to be equal, 15 and 15. So I like to do that. Let's see. Okay. And then I usually have some kind of little, what I call the change roundup down here, which is some money that I will eventually go through a drive-through and get in cash and use it for some very small, very almost change-oriented savings challenges. But it all adds up. So if you'll bear with me, this is going to take some math here. If I add the 50 and the 75 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's another 75, 5 15s. And this 75 down here, I get 275. Now, if I take that from the 331.49, I have 56. Okay. But my change roundup, I already knew was going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $11 or something. So we'll make it $11.49. And that means gifts will get $45. So it got an extra 30. That's not bad. And I think that I have enough in the gift sinking fund already to cover my son's birthday present. If not, I will reassess in the second half of the month. But let's add this up again. 50, 75, 30, that's those two together, 45 and 45 equals 245. Subtract that from 331.49 and you get 86.49, which I will bring down here. And I believe, let me try and keep everything in frame, 25, 50, and 11.49 will equal 86.49 to come to a zero base budget. Okay. I think I did all that math correctly. It is slightly different on my draft, so I can't double check it until I'm off camera, but I think I did that correctly. So it looks like it's adding up. Almost everything is the same. So once I do that, and I think you may have seen that I already had figured out here that I am transferring to savings. Let's see. Everything in here is going to savings except for this $50. So that's $195 plus $195 plus this $75 plus this $20 over here that I got in cash that I'm just kind of shuffling around. So that's $290 that needs to go to the savings account, and the $11.49, and I'll have to go on Monday because I missed it this morning. I'll have to go on Monday and get this taken out, but I can do this electronically. So I will shift that. And then the last thing, the last thing I usually do, but I will wait and do that for the monthly wrap up, is when I put my weekly expenses, or not weekly, the expenses from my paycheck and from my expense tracker, I add them all up by category and put them in here. And this helps me to finish up and wrap up, do a final closeout on my month. But in order to try and save time and get caught up on my videos, I'm not going to do that on camera today. Okay, so this looks to have closed out the first half of April. Now we are finally caught up to where I am, and I'm ready to keep going forward. The delay came from the time I filmed my first video until I figured out all of the little nagging issues that I had with either editing or music or something for launching a YouTube channel. There are a lot of little details that I allowed to sidetrack me, and I would just put it away for another 2 or 3 days, and that meant getting behind. But I'm caught up now, and I want you to keep me accountable, please. I want you to be looking for me to post at least weekly, hopefully twice a week, or at least on certain weeks when I have the budget information to catch up. And if I don't have a catch up to do, if I'm caught up on all my budget stuff, I hope I will finally be having time to read and share with you what I'm reading. That's why I named the channel Books and Budgets, because that's what I'm hoping to do. All right, well, I'm going to get out of here. I hope it's a Saturday right now, and I hope all of you are having a wonderful weekend. I will be editing these videos and scheduling them to go out probably pretty rapidly into this next week to get everything caught up. And I will talk to you again about the middle of the week. Have a great one.